Well, good afternoon and welcome. You're with us here in business today, and we're tracking market close for you. Let's take a look, and we were having a pretty good week. I mean, it's been a day after day of cheer on the markets and new all-time highs that we're looking at today as well. Nifty at about 18,147, very comfortable, and the Sensex also looking steady in trade. Nice steady chart, as you can see on your screen. A whole host of stocks that are buzzing in the session as well. Advances far outpacing the declines. We've got delivery that's up about 10%. Nykaa, of course, we'll talk more about FSN e-commerce later. Infibeam's up 6% today. Divi's Labs 5-6%. Varun Beverages is up 5-6%. Consumer remains a theme. Pharma names remain a theme. AstraZeneca, Jubilant, a couple of the names there. Sugar continues to buzz. Alembic again from the pharma pack. We've got Metropolis also up about 4% today. Natco up about 4% as well coming in. Laurus Labs, so that whole spectrum. Then you got JSW Energy, for instance, that's moving higher. You got Torrent Power that's moving higher as well. 2-3% on most of these names, and strong moves across the board and across segments in today's session. We'll keep pulling up some of those spiking stocks, but let me also introduce Hemang Jani. He's with us this afternoon. Hemang, before I go across to Tanya and also giving us an insight into what's moving on earnings, let me just get a sense on text of the market, the kind of momentum we've been seeing this week, and how optimistic you are that this is now here to stay.
Good afternoon, Abba. Thanks for having me. Clearly, if you look at the market performance, whether from Jan or from June, clearly India by far is one of the best performing markets. And more so, if you see every time we see some weakness, some volatility in the US markets for any reason, whether the interest rates are moving up, inflation data is not positive, our market is holding out extremely well. And what is adding to this confidence and conviction is the fact that this festive season has remained by and large very buoyant across categories, and the earnings picture is getting a little better. With majority of the companies, particularly domestic oriented companies, are pointing to the fact that we are going to see much better days ahead over the next few quarters, as this season is panning out to be extremely good. So overall, I think we have to really be positive in terms of the earnings picture, and could see much more higher levels as we go into the next few months.
All right, let's also go across to Tanya. She's been tracking those earnings fairly closely. Tanya, take us through some of the major pegs when it comes to results season. All right. Tanya, will go back across to you in a moment, but clearly starting off from Sun Pharma and slight audio issue coming in there with Tanya, so back across in a moment. But Hemang, clearly the pharma, majors are reacting on that, but I actually want to talk to you about auto, because what are we seeing there? I know you're excited about that pocket of the market. We've been seeing Maruti come back with some big plans. M&M on, certain pegs has also been very consistently performing, buying interest coming back in the two-wheelers. What are you identifying in the auto pack?
But if you look at the auto index, it is at all-time high level. And three major companies have crossed all-time high levels: Mahindra, Eicher, TVS Motors. Maruti is pretty much close to the all-time high level. So which means the market is sensing that there is a much better growth visibility over the next couple of years. And auto being a lead indicator, there is a sense that it also points to a broader revival in the economy and the consumer space. So we think that though monthly numbers, if you look at it, Maruti numbers were not that great. Even Ashok Leyland numbers were not that impressive. But I think if you take a next 6 to 12 months perspective, we are looking at a very strong growth, both in terms of passenger vehicles and select category of two-wheelers. And that really brings back the focus on the auto names. And we think that this could be again one of the best performing sectors for this year.
Okay, so auto is on the top of Hemang's radar. We've got other major indices. I'm just tracking across the breadth of the market. IT is also looking good today. In a recent week, we're actually seeing buying interest coming in a lot of the pockets at lower Hemang. It's not just IT, but across the board. And in fact, I wanted to get your names because of the volatility. And I know you may not be tracking it so closely or so enthusiastic. There are some solid plays in the sector as well. Delivery and FSN, and a lot of them, their anchor period for investors is going to be November or so. All the big ones, Policy Bazaar, Paytm. What is the kind this having on the market?
So, Abba, when we look at the technology companies like Nykaa and Paytm and Policy, our view has been that there was a time when there was a lot of excitement and people looking out for such technology names. There was a lot of money available, and the current market scenario is very different. People are looking out for companies which are delivering on the numbers where there is a growth visibility and there is a valuation comfort. Though you might see a little bit of volatility in names like Nykaa because of either the lock-in period for the promoters getting over, or some other news, but we would definitely stay away from those companies because we think that there's a lot to go before they report any meaningful numbers in terms of cash flow and profitability. We need to focus on either banks or some of the consumers where there is a good growth visibility from current quarters and going into the next few quarters.
Okay, let's use small finance as one of the big movers today. And I know that there's been a lot of interest in place as well from the point of view that we're going to see that resurgence in the economy. And what's your take, Hemang? What are the best opportunities in the financial segment?
Categories above one is the larger banks. So with names like State Bank of India and some of the smaller PSU bank or Union Bank, where we expect a good quarter, valuation comfort, and the entire flavor is very strong. So just to give you a perspective, PSU banking index was up 15% in October, while the Nifty was up 5%. There is a 10% outperformance which has come through from the PSU banking space. So we would definitely go with that. And of course, some of the private banks like ICICI or Axis, they continue to deliver good performance. So there is always going to be some positive bias over there as well.
All right. Let's also get your view from Prashant Khemka. We were speaking to him about the kind of opportunity. They're also very on 3-4 themes that they track in the markets at White Oak, and also definitely look bottom up. Listen in.
Certainly, Abha. So just to be clear, our team and our approach at White Oak is very bottom-up stock selection driven. We don't try to time where we are in the cycle, and how that might impact the different sectors. We rather focus on identifying and investing in what we believe are the best companies at the most attractive valuations in each sector, and that can outperform over the cycle their respective sectors. And if we are able to do that across all sectors, then it doesn't matter where the market is headed, is our belief.
Punjab.
But having said that, where we are finding the most attractive opportunities today, Abha, it's also in line with what historically has been the case, is in private sector financials, because there are some extraordinarily well-run private sector financials in India. They're I would say not just within Indian context, but having invested in financials or banking sector around the world, I would say some of the Indian financial sector companies in the private sector space are the best compared to anywhere are available at fairly reasonable and I would say attractive multiples compared to their own past but also now compared to at what valuations they are compared to some of the emerging market peers. So that's one area where the team continues to find a lot of opportunities to invest. Another area is the whole consumption related, not only staples, but consumer discretionary segment as well. We've always found some very good opportunities. If there is a slowdown and if there's a sharper slowdown, then it would hurt the discretionary demand as well. But again, we can't take a top down view on the economy and then bet the whole portfolio or tilt the portfolio to align with that view. In my experience over the years, that just induces a lot of volatility in performance without adding any alpha or without adding any performance. So we have a balanced portfolio, which we expect to do well, regardless of where the economy or the market is headed in the near term. And in the long term, the stock selection should shine through. Certainly.
All right. Hemang, what's your take on industrials? Because that's one pocket that we were, finding fairly bullish views on for a while in the middle. Do you continue to feel upbeat? Because within that, themes like defense have really seen some phenomenal returns.
Absolutely, Abba. I think after a long time, we are seeing capex as a theme being really talked about, and even the private sector companies are now looking far more confident about their plans to expand capacity. And we think that though the stocks have run up, there is a lot of runway because capex cycle typically lasts for at least 2 to 3 years. So names like L&T, Siemens, ABB, Cummins, I think these names can deliver good performance, though there is going to be a little bit of volatility through the period. But as a theme, I think CAPEX will do extremely well.
All right, so we've talked about themes there. Auto definitely on Hemang's radar. We're also tracking all those latest auto sales numbers start to filter in over the next day or so. I think Tata Motors, we've got the numbers coming in there. We've got M&M as well. Analysts are largely maintaining a buy on those wholesale price numbers. Vehicle sales up 60%, three-wheelers 44%, tractor sales 11% for NM coming in. And I'm just trying to find the Tata Motors numbers as well. Passenger vehicle sales 33, and domestic dispatches 17, and sales of CVs were down about 2%. Also, stock up about just about 1% or so on that one. What's the return potential that you see across some of these auto majors? I talked about, of course, a positive up move coming in and direction. But are we looking at, a consistent 15%, 20%? I mean, how much an uptick are you really anticipating?
I think, Ava, having seen strong run-up in the last few months, I think the return expectations will have to be a bit more. In case of Maruti, we would be looking at about 18-20% kind of an upside. And in case of Mahindra, 15 to 16% kind of an upside is what we get. And more importantly, you may get a good opportunity as some important events lined up over the next few days. So market can be a little volatile. So one can choose a good entry point depending upon the market opportunity.
Okay, just continuing on that theme, Maruti, even though very positive views coming in, definitely a little return potential possibly, given that it's just about consolidated up 21%, domestic dispatches up about 25.7%, for Maruti declined about 4%. So those are some of the segmental breakup when we talk about Maruti. Compact segment was up almost 40% though for a Maruti this time. Not as enthused by those numbers, Hemang. Do you have any kind of view on why, even though it's making a comeback, is not completely instilling confidence?
So is that this monthly auto sales numbers which have been out,
Yeah.
list of Maruti, Ashok Leyland, numbers have not been great. That is why we are seeing a bit of a negative reaction. But I think relying upon the monthly sales, we would rather go by the overall trend, which is so good given the product launches and the overall positive mood which is there. We would continue to believe that the growth story will remain for next 1 year or so. And from that perspective, we continue to have positive both in terms of Maruti, Mahindra, Ashok Leyland.
All right. What about print consumer as well, Hema? I want to take a look back to perhaps to some of the names that you were tracking closely to get a sense of where we're at in that journey. Do you find that the theme has delivered, is picking up? Are you changing perhaps some of the names that your interest basket?
I think this theme has played out extremely, be it consumer discretionary or some of the leisure plays, be it hotels, QSR plays. I think we are in for great time. And particularly for QSR, what I want to point out is that some of these companies are, market cap is hardly about 7,000
Sorry?
crore. For some of these QSR,
Go ahead, Heman. Go ahead.
yeah, so for some of the QSR companies, the runway for growth 5 to 10 years, and these companies are just having a market cap of 7,000 crore for a country as large as ours. So I think these companies can be potentially multi-baggers from where we are right now.
Just coming down to close, and I'm going to go through some of the gainers, for our viewers as well. But Hemang, before I do that, in terms of a year-end realistic target, we do see smooth sailing. Where do you think we'll be on the index?
I think we are looking at about 18 to 20 kind of growth, both for Nifty and Sensex. I would imagine that Sensex can be somewhere around 8 and Nifty could be somewhere around 21,000.
All right, that's actually quite a strong, outlook coming in there, and you're smiling also while you're sharing that. But it's great to see the confidence you have in the markets right now. Hemang Jani, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to actually just go through now some of the gainers for the session. It really was a day for pharma because we saw Sun Pharma's Q2% beating estimates, and that's really what led the entire pharma pack to participate for the mid caps on the index. We also saw a whole host of other names that played out today, as you can see, Grasim, some of the names there that were looking particularly strong. Broader markets, Patel, the Nifty Bank was higher, just steady really, as some of the large caps didn't have action, but it was steady. So overall, it was a smooth day. Advances were well in play. Saw the Nifty well above, comfortably above 18,000, the Sensex comfortably above 61,000 now is what we're looking at there on the Sensex. IT continued to buzz as well. So in fact, I'm going to say losers and just focus on some of those buzzers for you. Let's take a look across the board. We had a whole host of names from a delivery that was up 10%, sugar stock buzzing as well, 7-8%, ITI, Sri Renuka, Dani Wilmar, Dani Enterprises, JK Lakshmi Cement, a whole host of names from the cement pack, power names, for instance. Then we had names like a Supreme that was up 4-5%, AU Small Finance 4-5% on that one as well coming in. Voltas, ABB, Birla Corp. I'm just running through the list. FSN e-commerce or rebound, a strong set of earnings that came in today's session. L&T Info is up 2%, and we're continuing to see traction across the IT pack, as you can see on your screen. Muthoot Finance, Interglobe was up about 2-3%. Intel's continued at up move. Tata Motors was up post numbers as well. TCS was up 10, so contributing there to the gains on the index, looking strong. JSW Group companies continue to look strong as well. Two-wheelers were steady on auto sales. Bajaj Auto was also up about 1 or 2% in today's session. And outside of that, other Nifty heavyweights, HCL Tech, Asian Paints, AD also gains of 1 to 2% coming in. Jubilant Food was up about 1 to 2% as well in today's trade. Ancillary stocks like Sundaram Fasteners, for instance, was also traction. Max Financial was up about 1.5%. VMart was up in today. And as you can see, it was a fairly colorful mark in terms of the mix of names that stood out. But pharma, IT, those were pockets that in particular were very strong in today's session, and also power names, those also stood out and had a pretty solid day. SBI Bank, Adani Enterprise were up about 7% in fact, so that one stood out. NTPC, as I mentioned from the pack, was also very strong in today's trade. From the fund to highlight, I'd still bring up a Divi's Lab once again because that one was in particular looking really session. And from the broader markets, I'd pull up Sri Renuka because that altered out in today's trade. Other than that, SRF, Bank of India, Adani Gas, for instance, Suzlon Energy, Godfrey about 7% in today's session. So that was another one that stood out as well in trade. So a really good, strong day for the markets with a lot of participants, and it's really getting market men fired up again, after that bout of volatility with a couple of months, to really see this trend now carry us through to we've just about scaled 61,000 and everyone's already looking at higher target end. We've got 2 more months to go, and it looks like it's not going to be to get there. So that's really how trade panned out today, and we look forward to catching you here tomorrow, same time. Thanks for watching.
Problem with